Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, I am very excited because I get to talk about The Crow on 4K. This has to be one of the most anticipated 4K releases of 2024 so far. I was able to get this one in early from Paramount to review and talk about with you guys. This is actually due out on May the 7th. There will be a Steelbook version, hopefully. As of right now, this Steelbook that I am showcasing on the channel is currently sold out on Amazon, and I believe it's being sold on a couple of other websites like Groove, possibly Target as well. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to do a little research. If it is available anywhere else, I will link that down below. But on Amazon, this is sold out. The Walmart exclusive is also sold out as well, so hopefully that comes back in stock. There is still a 4K slipcover version. You can still get The Crow on 4K for $24.49, which is a really good price for The Crow on 4K for sure, or just a 4K in general. Like Paramount, I gotta give them a lot of credit. They price their stuff very affordably. Like, I feel like all the other studios are jacking up their prices, but Paramount seems to have lowered theirs a little bit, actually. So I am thankful for that. But guys, in this video, we're going to talk about the movie The Crow, which was very interesting to revisit because it's been a very long time since I've seen this movie. I actually grew up with The Crow. I watched this all the time when I was a kid. It was one of my sister's favorite movies. But we are going to talk about the movie itself a little bit. I always like to do that. Then we're going to talk about the picture quality, of course, the audio, the special features, which there are brand new special features to talk about, which is definitely really cool. And then we'll do a little unboxing of this 4K Steelbook right here. But before we get into it, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're into 4Ks and Blu-rays and physical media and owning the movies that you love, all that stuff there behind me, definitely hit that subscribe button. I do video content on this channel all the time, almost every single day, so you will enjoy the channel for sure. Hit the subscribe button. Also, comment down below, guys, what are your thoughts on The Crow? I know this is a real fan favorite. This is a much anticipated 4K release. Let me know what you think about the movie in the comment section. Are you going to get this 4K release from Paramount? Let me know in the comment section below. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into my thoughts on the film itself. And guys, I don't want to get controversial here. I don't aim to get controversial here, but I always have to give you all my honest thoughts. That being said, I do enjoy The Crow. There's a lot of things about this movie that I do enjoy. Like I said, I grew up with this film. I watched this movie from probably age 10. Like, I remember when we got it on VHS, and I believe that was the first time I watched it. We got it on VHS probably in 1995, a year after it was released in theaters. And my sister loved it. We watched it all the time. I'd say I watched this movie at least like once a month, maybe more frequently than that, for like 3 years. But after that, I went a very long time without seeing this movie. I think I revisited it maybe on TV when I was in my 20s, but I don't really remember that too much. So it's very possible I didn't. I'm just kind of making that up in my head. So it's very possible, guys, I haven't watched this movie since I was 13 years old. So it was an interesting movie to revisit with my adult eyes and my new perspective on film. And I will say this, I think this is a good movie. It's got a good performance by Brandon Lee. This movie, though, I will say, there was something about it when I was a kid, and I think it had a lot to do with me knowing that Brandon Lee died making this film. And just having that knowledge when I was watching it, it gave me a very dark feeling. Whenever I watch this movie, I always just felt this darkness come over me, which kind of added to the effect of the film itself a little bit. So knowing about Brandon Lee's death, I just always felt very dark inside whenever I watch this film. So maybe by the time I got free of the movie itself and hadn't watched it for a long time, I just subconsciously never wanted to return to it to go back to those dark feelings. But yeah, you got Brandon Lee as the character of Eric Draven. And I'll say this, the way that Brandon Lee plays that character, I don't think anybody else could play the character of Eric Draven as the Crow quite like Brandon Lee. He is great in his performance. There are some moments like when he boos at Ernie Hudson that it's a little goofy. I will say, I know some people don't like it when I use that terminology, but it was a little goofy and it kind of almost played for laughs. But I feel like back in the day when I watched that, that was almost like a cool moment in the movie. And you're like, oh, Eric Draven's badass. He's saying boo at Ernie Hudson. But that was just an interesting moment. But besides that, like, he just has all the style, all the charisma, all the charm. Like, he just perfectly embodies that character and does a great job at it. So him, to me, he's the best part of this movie. I also think the movie's got some really good action and some really slick action set pieces. This is directed by Alex Proyas. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, who also did Dark City, and he has a great style to him and his direction, a really cool, slick style, dark style to his direction. I think that that's put on full display in this movie. So I like the action, I like the style, I like Brandon Lee as the Crow. The movie itself, to me, is just kind of a mess, and it has that 90s style, and it ages not in a good way to me. Sometimes you'll watch a movie from the 90s and you're like, oh, this ages really well, like all this stuff just, it perfectly transcends through time. Whereas this movie, it's almost like the editing really bothers me. It's edited kind of like a music video from the 90s. And while in some cases that could work, I just don't feel like it works in this. And it has a very dark tone to it. It's a dark tone, but they try to inject too much lighthearted comedy, just kind of throwing it, sprinkling it in here and there. And I don't like that, and I don't think that it fits, and it pulls me out of it every time when they're sitting there talking about onions on a hot dog and how it makes them fart, or the little girl fart, like just lines like that. I'm like, this just doesn't fit in this movie. And I may be sounding nitpicky, but it's just all throughout the film, little jokes, little jabs. I'm not a big fan of the villain in this movie. I don't find him menacing at all or threatening. And I feel like I did when I was a kid and I watched this movie, but now I kind of find him a little bit silly. So I didn't like all that stuff, but I don't know, guys. I like the movie, but I don't like the movie very much, if that makes any sense. Look, here's the thing. The movie's an all-time classic. Everybody loves this film, and it just has that like iconic status. So I feel like because of that, the hype is like way up for this movie. And I think that if you haven't seen The Crow before and you watch this movie, you're going to think it's a little silly and very 90s, and it probably doesn't age very well. So that's just my opinion of The Crow, guys. Again, I'm not trying to make anybody mad. I know some people get sensitive with movies like this because there is a fandom attached to The Crow, a real fandom attached to The Crow. A lot of people love this film. I'm not trying to make any of those people upset. But for me, I don't think this is a great movie. It's just an okay movie with a really great performance and some slick direction and action set pieces. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the actual 4K restoration here. This is a native 4K with Dolby Vision HDR10. I'm pretty sure that Alex Proyas worked on or supervised the restoration of this film as well, which definitely always helps to have that director's original vision around when you're doing the restoration. And look, guys, what I will say right off the bat, like if you're a Crow fan, if you are a massive Crow fanboy and you love this movie with all of your heart and soul, and you are hoping for the greatest 4K transfer that there could be for this movie, then I think you're going to be very pleased with this 4K. This is an excellent 4K restoration by Paramount. And I think it's time, guys, because I feel like a broken record talking about Paramount, but I think it's time to finally admit that Paramount has figured out 4K, and they've been doing a great job on their 4K restoration since Flashdance last year. Then you had Ferris Bueller, Sleepy Hollow, Major League recently. They've been knocking it out of the park with their 4K restoration, just doing some phenomenal work. And The Crow is no different, guys. This looks absolutely fantastic. The movie takes place mostly at night, and I've said this before, movies that take place at night had the most opportunity to shine in 4K with those black levels and that HDR and the Dolby Vision just adding all of that depth. And the black levels are excellent. They're inky. They just look great. Like the close-ups on Eric Draven's face, just with that Crow makeup, the white and the black, all that stuff just looks super clear, super crisp, and just perfectly colored, and it just contrasted to the background. Everything looks excellent in this movie. When he's walking out of the shadows and you can see the white of his face, it all looks great. There's such depth, and you just feel like the picture has just come to life right in front of your very eyes watching the movie. And I did pop in the Blu-ray, and it is a night and day difference, because the Blu-ray that Lionsgate did back in 2011, I think they re-released this one in 2018. That's the one I have. But Paramount did one recently as well when they took the rights back from Lionsgate through Miramax. But this Crow Blu-ray right here, it looks okay, but it's way too bright. Like, it almost looks like in certain scenes that it's taking place in the daytime, that it's so bright. Maybe not that bright, but it's very bright, and it's definitely not as dense as this 4K is. And it just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel like when I watched The Crow for the first time on VHS back in the day. And that's what I love about 4K, guys. It restores that film back to the original intent of the filmmaker and the original intent of the artists involved in making the movie. So Absolutely fantastic 4K. It's not that this is terrible. There's a good amount of clarity here, but it just looks like I always say, guys, it looks flat. The Blu-ray looks flat compared to the 4K, which has so much density to it when you're watching it. But I thought this was a great 4K, guys, all the way throughout. If you love The Crow, if you've been watching The Crow since you were a kid and you wanted that proper 4K restoration, you are going to get it for sure with this release, guys. Absolutely looked fantastic for sure. The only negative I can say about the 4K, and it's not really a negative about the 4K, but some of the effects, guys, and this goes back to the movie itself, just kind of being a little bit cheesy, a little bit goofy in some parts. Some of the effects in this movie, the way that they're edited, the way that they're thrown in there, they just don't look great. Like I'm looking at the beginning of the movie. They're using a lot of models in this film because I did watch the special features. We'll get into that in a second. They use a lot of models in the movie, but in the beginning, the fire looks like it's CGI, and it doesn't look right how it's coming off of the buildings. And you can just notice that so well in 4K. So there's some other effect sequences that don't look great either in 4K. So that's the only thing, guys. And that's not an issue with the 4K. That's just an issue with the movie and the fact that you can see it better in 4K. So I don't know what they were thinking with that fire. They should have tried to do that practically because it just looks awful. It looks like little fire clouds that they just kind of inputted in there through some kind of special effects computer animation type program. So but yeah, guys, the 4K, it looks great. I can't say enough good things about it. Paramount did an excellent job with this 4K. If you are a Crow fan, you are going to be so happy with this restoration. So getting into the audio, guys, you have the exact same DTS HD 5.1 that was present on this Blu-ray release back in the day. So they did no audio enhancements here. And to be honest, I feel like they could have done something if they incorporated some 7.1 or some Dolby Atmos. I feel like there could have been some upgrade potential there because there's a lot of shootout sequences in this movie. And I think that stuff could have sounded better in Dolby Atmos. So I'm a little bit disappointed that Paramount decided to not upgrade the audio because I do think that there was potential. Not that the 5.1 sounded bad. Everything sounded really good on my soundbar. I had no issues with the sound. I just feel like they could have upgraded. There's a lot of sequences of rain and things that could have sounded really good. I think that there was room for an upgrade here, but Paramount chose not to do it. So I got to kind of throw that into a negative a little bit. Now get into the actual Steelbook itself. I'll do a little bit of an unboxing showcase here. Really nice Steelbook. Like I said, Walmart has one as well, but they are both sold out currently. Hopefully they both come back in stock, but I do like this Steelbook. You take the slipcover off. The only criticism I have of this, and this is like all Paramount Steelbooks, but the slipcovers they put over top, they don't fit as snug as the Lionsgate ones do. They're a little bubbly, and I just don't like it. So I hope that Paramount figures out these plastic slipcovers at some point. That's the only real criticism I can give to it, though. Beautiful Steelbook, guys. You got the classic image of Brandon Lee, Eric Draven on the back, and you got a quote on the back. What does that say? "Victims, aren't we all?" Great quote from the movie. And then on the front, you got "Real Love is Forever." And then we open this up. You do have a digital code in here, but you just have the 4K, no Blu-ray in this Steelbook, so that is definitely a little bit disappointing. But like I said, at least the Steelbook, because I think this was like $28 or $29, at least the Steelbook is affordably priced to reflect that. But that just makes me have to keep my Blu-ray edition because I like having both formats just in case I'm in here or in another room that only has a Blu-ray player. I like to have my options open for watching the movie where I want to watch it. So I got to keep that Blu-ray now. But inside, guys, you have the 4K disc, just plain disc art right there. And you have a nice little image on the inside as well. So really cool Steelbook, though. I do like this Steelbook a lot, and I hope that they put this back in stock soon. I really hope they do. I will link the Amazon link for the Steelbook down below, guys. So just click it when this video goes up. Click it all the way until May the 7th, and hopefully the Steelbook comes back in stock. But getting into the special features, guys, and I'm going to bring the J card over here to read these off. I was actually pleasantly surprised that there was quite a few new special features with this release. So good on Paramount, good on Warner Brothers recently with The Departed doing a new special feature as well. And I'm loving it, guys. I'm loving the new special features for some of these studio releases because we don't always get that. In fact, we almost never get that. So I hope that that's a sign for things to come that, not only are these studios realizing that there's still a market for physical media, it's the collector's market, and they want to release more of these Steelbooks and these premium editions, but they realize that we also love our special features as well, and they start doing new special features because I feel like there was an era where the studios were just like, it doesn't matter. People just want this stuff upgraded. We'll throw in the old special features. Who cares? And now it feels like they're kind of turning a corner a little bit, and I appreciate that. But anyway, getting into the new special features, you have new Shadows and Pain, Designing the Crow. This is a 3-part documentary, and it's probably, each part's about 7 to 8 minutes. I think the last one's about 10 minutes. And it's probably like 25 minutes in total, but just goes into a ton of behind the scenes stuff and making of stuff with, I think, the producer of the film. So they talk about the setting, they talk about the costumes, they talk about the character of Eric Draven and the, the source material and all that kind of stuff. So a great grouping of special features right there. It's about 25 minutes, like I said. And then you have Sideshow Collectibles, who does all of those cool like superhero statues that I would love to get, but they're all like $1,000 or $1,500 a piece, and I don't have the money to collect that kind of stuff. But they do an interview with Edward R. Pressman, who I'm pretty sure was a producer on the film as well, and he talks about and gives some backstory on the movie. And they do it right in front of like a big new Eric Draven Sideshow collectible figure that just looks super awesome. But that's about, I think, 13 to 14 minutes. So you got about 40 minutes of new special features and content on this 4K release, and I'll flash them all right here if you guys want to check them out. In addition to that, guys, you got all the archival stuff. You got 2 audio commentaries here. You got one with the director, you got an audio commentary with the producer and screenwriter John Shirley. You have behind the scenes featurette, a profile on James O'Barr, extended scenes, deleted footage montage, and a trailer as well. But yeah, guys, all that being said, everything that you get with this release, the movie itself, the fact that the 4K is so excellent, all the new special features, this is 100% a recommendation for me. Even though I don't love the movie like a lot of people love the movie, I just like the movie. It's 100% a recommendation from me, like especially if you love this movie, you grew up with this movie, you are going to love and appreciate this 4K. This is the definitive edition of The Crow on 4K, so definitely check this one out. I will link it down below in the description. But thank you all so much for watching my review of The Crow on 4K. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Comment down below, guys, your thoughts on the movie. Are you going to pick up this 4K? Follow me on all of my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.